If the Toronto Blue Jays want to play October baseball, they need some wins now. Despite that, they just aren't getting them. The Jays losing the first 3 games of a 4-game home series against the Texas Rangers by a combined score, wait for it, 26-7. The team hasn't been able to get the offense going, with all-star first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. not even getting a hit in the first 2 games. Finally getting on bag last night, but just barely.
A bouncer beyond Montgomery and unable to come up with it is Seager as Guerrero reaches.
Reaching for the stars after reaching first base in the first inning last night. It was the only thing Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had to celebrate.
2-strike pitch, and this one is by third into left field, base hit. Seager being waved. Here comes a throw from Merrifield. It's up the line, and Seager is in with the first run of the night.
But not the last run.
Ooh, this ball in the air, center field. Varsho going back to the wall. Gone! Nathaniel Lowe with a 3-run homer, and the Rangers make it a 4-run 4th inning. That is a big shot.
The Rangers putting up a 4-run 4th inning against Jays starter Yusei Kikuchi. Texas only continuing to add to the tally.
Hits this ball a ton, deep out to left, a towering blast, it's gone!
Kikuchi pitching 5 innings, giving up 6 runs on 5 hits with 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. Toronto would bring out 4 more pitchers before the night was done.
2-out hit if he can come up with it. And he hits this one out to center field. That's a base hit. Around third base Lowe, heading to third Smith, and now he'll get into a rundown that allows Lowe to score. And Smith will be tagged out for the final out of the inning.
In the bottom of the 6th, Guerrero Jr. in his last at bat.
And a fly ball to right.
Listen to the crowd boo him off the field.
And the Rangers up 7-0.
As if things weren't bad enough, the Rangers earned 3 more in the top of the 9th.
Hunter Brown to Rafael Montero, Hector Neris. Garver gives one a ride to deep right center field and out of here.
Texas going on to win 10-0, prompting more boos.
Again, there is booing as the game comes to an end. The Blue Jays now a game back of Seattle, a game and a half back of Texas.
I hate this team. Everybody hates this team. It's been a miserable experience all year long.
Jays manager John Schneider saying he understands the boos, but the loss is not due to a lack of effort, and the team is focused on the final game of the series tonight.
Not the way we wanted this series to go, or to start the first 3. You have to move on to tomorrow and win. You know, it's everyone knows exactly where we are, and we're still right in the thick of a playoff race. So, you know, as tough as the first 3 games are, you have Kevin Gausman tomorrow, and you have to realize that every little thing is important.
The dismal 3-game losing streak leaves the Jays 1 game behind the Seattle Mariners in the wild card race, making it all the more important for the Jays to turn it around right now. For more on this, I'm joined by the host of the Deep Left Field podcast, Toronto Star baseball columnist Mike Wilner. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
The Jays had been predicted to be a top finisher, but they've struggled most of the season. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they've struggled all season. I think they've struggled with the expectations. But when you look at it, they're on pace to win more than 90 games. They're a game and a half out of a playoff spot. They've had a very frustrating year. They haven't hit, especially home runs, nearly as much as anyone thought they would, but their pitching has been the best in the game. It's been pretty terrible the last 3 games against Texas. There's no question about that. But overall, they're having a fine season. They're just not having as good a season as Baltimore and Tampa Bay. And they, really can't do anything about that except for when they're playing them, and they did not play Baltimore well at all. But they're definitely below expectations, but could very well still be in the playoffs and are well positioned if they get there to do some very surprising things. So I think they've struggled relative to how people thought they were going to play, but if teams played the way people predicted that they were going to play in March, then Las Vegas would be desolate. Everybody would have all the money, and there would be no reason to actually play the seasons.
Vladdy hasn't been playing very well. What do you think's going on with him?
He's been rough. Bo Bichette's been rough. The first 3 games against Texas, they're a combined 1 for 23. It's a really weird situation with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. this year. I mean, he's still hitting the ball as hard or harder as he hit it a couple of years ago when he was almost the MVP. It's just not going as far. I think given the quality of contact, the balls he hits are going like 20 feet shorter than they're supposed to, and nobody can really figure that out. It's just one of those crazy things that you expect him to pull out of at any point in time, but the deeper it gets, the deeper he probably gets in his own head, and the more he feels like he has to pull out of it now, and he has to hit a 6-run home run every time he comes to the plate, which makes hitting close to impossible. So I think Vlad's been in a battle in his own head most of the year, and I mean, it could change in a heartbeat. It could not. But it is really baffling what's going on with him.
The crowds have been small, and last night the fans were booing. Are you surprised at the reaction?
Yeah, they deserve to get booed off the field last night. I mean, I don't buy the whole, they didn't show up, they don't care, any of that stuff as far as the players go. But this was the biggest series of the year, and they have played 3 consecutive games in which they have not been competitive at all against a team that had lost 16 out of its last 22 coming in. And losing 10-0, yeah, you deserve to get booed. And, the manager, John Schneider, said it after the game as well, that the boos were deserved. As far as the low attendance, that I don't get. I mean, they're in a playoff race, and this is what you're supposed to want. And the fans, you would think, would be wanting to come out and support the team while it's playing its biggest series of the season in a playoff race. But I think there are a lot of factors. Back to school is one thing. Baseball families are busy with tryouts this week is another thing. And the other is that when you're buying your tickets or looking at the schedule at the beginning of the year, this series didn't pop. And nobody thought that this series, 4 games against Texas, was going to be meaningful.
That's the host of the Deep Left Field podcast, Mike Wilner. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much.